the internet collapsing physical things like books. I've got thousands of books on my phone and my Kindle, more books than my mother was an assistant librarian, more books in my mother's library on my phone today. Books have collapsed into this. They become a different form of property, a different reality, which means that they can be more. Property can be more when it's Bitcoin. Books can be more when it's digital, dematerialized. Music can be more. You have more music in your phone today than you ever had, if you're my age, in the form of a collection of CDs or 8-track tapes or cassette tapes or vinyl records. It's always more. There's more email than physical letters mailed. There's always more when you go to this world. When your real estate's going to be more when you move that value to Bitcoin. Stocks are going to be the stock value to more when you move it into Bitcoin. Everything that gets collapsed into the digital realm of property, the dematerialized realm of property, is more. Never in the history of the world has the digital or dematerialized form of something not been exponentially more than the physical form that it replaced. So there's more digital music than physical music. There's more email than physical mail. There's more streaming movies than physical movies. And there will be more Bitcoin than gold. Gold is $13 trillion. There's going to be more value in Bitcoin than 13 trillion. Way more. But Bitcoin is not just digital gold. Bitcoin is digital property. And what's digital property? What's property? Everything. I start people off by trying to get them to understand Bitcoin as just think of it being a digital gold. So think of digital email versus physical email. Digital email is bigger, right? And they say, yeah, Oliver. Yeah, I see that. And then I say, okay, well, think of digital music, streaming music versus vinyl records, right? More digital music? Yeah, Oliver, I see that. And I say, okay, well, think of cassette DVDs and VHS tapes in your living room versus streaming movies on Netflix and Amazon Prime or whatever, more digital movies than physical movies, right? Yeah, Oliver, I see that. So I walk them through this like this, right? Yeah, Oliver, I see that. All right, well, think of an analog phone on the wall that you used to have to pick up and dial with the cord attached to the phone on the wall, right? That's an analog phone. Now think of a digital phone today, iPhone, whatever. What's more valuable? Oliver, of course, is the iPhone. Okay, and I walk them through and I said, okay, now think of physical gold, right? You can touch it and feel it. How much is that worth? 13 trillion. Okay, now think of the digital gold. That's Bitcoin, right? I see that, Oliver. Okay, well, if the physical one is 13 trillion, then what should the digital, remember all the digital ones? Yeah, Oliver, I remember they're always bigger. So if the physical one is 13 trillion, what's the digital one? Well, Oliver, it's way more than 13 trillion. Okay, you get that. A little bit more than 13 trillion? No, Oliver, a lot more than 13 trillion. I hope I'm driving that point home that the digital is the dematerialize is never not exponentially bigger than the physical that it replaces, right? So if Bitcoin, even in the example that it's just one property, see, because gold is property, right? One property, 13 trillion gold. And we have already established that the digital or dematerialized version of that one property at 13 trillion should be exponentially more than 13 trillion. And Bitcoin today is 1 trillion. Then where should it go? Just based on that, just based on that one property law, it should it go to 13 trillion from 1 trillion to 13? Is that a 13x? No, you bozo. It's exponentially more than 13 trillion because the analog phone didn't, the iPhone didn't just go to the value of the analog phone and stop. The digital emails didn't just go to the amount of physical mail and stop. The digital music didn't just stop where the physical vinyl record stopped. It's exponentially more. So if the physical form of gold is 13 trillion, the digital version today is 1 trillion, then should it just stop at 13 trillion? No, Oliver. Then where should it go? Way past 13 trillion, Oliver. So we're way past 13 trillion with one property. Now, what if I told you that Bitcoin represents all property? Do you see where I'm getting at, people? I take newbies down the path of one property. I walk them down the path just like I did now. Music, email, movies, and a variety of other things too. Then I do gold, and then I walk them right into, and they give me the answer. Way more than 13 trillion, Oliver. Where's Bitcoin now? 1 trillion, Oliver. So where's it going? Way past 13 trillion, Oliver. Is that a big gain? Is that is that life-changing gain? Yes, Oliver. They give me the answer. But there's only a few, you're the few, that I even take it further. I'm taking it further than that now. What if I told you Bitcoin is all property? I just showed you one at 13 trillion. What if I said that most of investment real estate property is Bitcoin? Do you know what the investment real estate the global investment, I'm not talking about the houses you live in, what you use as an investment, you know how big that market is? That's like 200 trillion. We just went from a 13 trillion. What's the value of gold? 13 trillion, Oliver. What's the value of investment real estate? 200 trillion, Oliver. Now let's add that to the mix. Now, if I'm right and Bitcoin should represent that, then where is Bitcoin going now? To 200 trillion? No, Oliver. Where should it be going? Way past 200 trillion, Oliver. You see, this thing starts to become stupefying when you approach Bitcoin from this idea that it is property. It is going to collapse all forms of property that we're trying inadequately, by the way, to store your value. We now have Bitcoin that can do it better. And so, what if a big portion of all of these inadequate properties just start collapsing into the better property? What if a real estate guy says, why am I I've got 8 rental properties. I've got this beautiful mansion on the mountain. We're not talking about the beautiful mansion my family and I live in. I got these 8 rental properties. I'm constantly dealing with repairs. I'm dealing with wear and tear. One of my properties is in this hurricane zone. Sometimes I've got insurance on them. I'm paying taxes. They keep reevaluating the value of the properties and the taxes go up. I've got some bad tenants. I've got lawyers trying to get the bad tenants out. I've got some tenants that haven't paid me in 8 months and I'm trying to get them out and they refuse to pay me. My lawyer's telling me it's going to take maybe 2 years to get them out. They're wrecking the property. I can't do anything about it. I've got another property where they want to build a freaking U.S. Postal Service and they want to take my property, which is fine, but they want to give me a price way below the value of the price via eminent domain. I'm dealing with that bullshit. Like, why am I got to travel around. I got to travel and visit these properties. And if I don't want to travel, I got to hire a management company. Why am I dealing with this? Why don't I just sell this bullshit and just move it to Bitcoin? Physical property collapsed into the digital form, which we already established is always exponentially more. So the value of that real estate in that scenario, the person says, I'm selling it all and moving it to Bitcoin. It's not based on what has always historically happened. That digital version must be exponentially more valuable than the physical version he sold. That if you dare say that history doesn't, you don't have history on your side. I can show you where that's happened every single time, but you can't show me where it hasn't happened. So I think I have the better view. I have the better prediction because I have proof, and my proof is 100% that the digital version is always exponential, has always been exponentially more than the physical version. And you can't show me one instance where that's been wrong. So if you dare tell me, Oliver, you're off your freaking rocker, I know you're just speaking from your little feelings and not from fact. Fact is on my side. History is on my side.